Imagine this, months of steady grind, staring at the same screen until your eyes burn, juggling deadlines like plates, swallowing stress like it's part of the job description. You're a contractor, which means you're inside the company but not really part of it. You have the badge, the desk, the Slack pings, but you're always aware of the thin glass wall between full-time and... So you put your head down because that's how you survive. You deliver. You learn to measure belonging in small rewards. A nod from a peer, a short extension on a contract, a less awkward meeting. Those little things start to feel like proof you matter. Until one afternoon when the illusion shatters. He said it in a tone that made the words feel like candy, the kind of smile that lubricates cruelty. That's why we hire contractors, he said, as if explaining a business model. So we can cut them loose whenever we want. Without notice, the sentence had the casual cruelty of someone describing trash pickup. It wasn't shouted. It didn't need to be. The smile made it sting more, like someone laughing while you're being burned. It was the quiet confession of a system that treated human beings like replaceable parts. The moment the words left his mouth, everything changed. You feel it physically, chest tightening, stomach clenching, an ache that's equal parts rage and a strange, helpless sadness. It's not just about being told you can go. It's being told you're disposable in front of others who are just as disposable. It's the humiliation of being recognized as useful only so long as your hands keep working and your head stays quiet. That image, your life reduced to a line item on a spreadsheet, lights a slow, inevitable fury. Let me take you back to how we got there because the details matter. Our team was roughly 10 people, all contractors. We sat together in one open space, sharing the same coffee station, same microwave, same jokes about who always killed the printer. The sponsor, the full-time employee delegated to be our liaison, kept a tidy office down the corridor, and he wore the office permanence like a badge of superiority. Not loud, not overbearing, but smug, the kind of man whose laugh is too bright and whose compliments always come with a price. Work itself was decent. Engineering work, complicated enough to feel important. The projects had layers, and within those layers was a man named Alex. He wasn't loud. He didn't throw his competence around. He arrived early, left late, and when he spoke, people listened. You notice competence the way you notice someone quietly carrying a column of books. It catches you off guard when you realize how much weight they've borne. Without complaint, Alex had that presence. He could untangle code that read like someone else's handwriting. He built systems people relied on without fully understanding them. To the sponsor, he might have been one of many contractors. To the product, to the system, Alex was essential. Then came the day management decided to optimize the budget. 3 contractors were called in at 4 in the afternoon and told, with clinical efficiency, that their contracts were over. No severance conversation, no warm transference of work. They were handed messages, and by 4:30, 3 chairs were empty and 3 cardboard boxes sat like neglected monuments on the desks they used to occupy. Watching someone you nodded to at lunch pack their life into a box in 20 minutes is a kind of hurt that resonates. They walked out with faces that had stopped processing, like actors refusing the script they'd been handed. I was asked to be the courier of that message. Imagine being handed the reason someone you've worked beside is being dismissed and being told to read it aloud. It felt grotesque, like being asked to ground a coffin. I remember the silence after it happened. The coffee machine seemed louder. The hum of fluorescent lights suddenly insulting. People shuffled back to their screens, but the rhythm was off. The company line about at-will employment had always been a shadow in the room. That day it stepped into full light and stared us down. The next morning, Alex and I walked down that corridor and knocked on the sponsor's door. Not angry, not accusatory, just one question. Why not a week's notice? Why not a handshake? He grinned, the kind of grin that lands without humor. That's why we hire contractors, he said, animated and almost proud, so we can cut them loose whenever we want. He said it as if reciting policy. He said it as a point of pride. The words dropped into my chest like cold stones. I heard my heartbeat in my ears. I felt suddenly very small, like a child asked to apologize for something he hadn't done. There are 100 ways to respond to that kind of insult. You can storm out. You can challenge him. You could even quit then and there if you wanted, but that rarely pays the rent. Instead, a new, quieter thought forms. A sense that fairness has to be rebalanced somehow. The mind starts to map scenarios. Who are we when our worth is judged by a contract timestamp? How does justice feel when it's dished out by a man who snickers at the idea of empathy? Alex didn't rattle silverware. He didn't throw a tantrum. He folded his sense of betrayal into something quieter. Resolve. Over the next few days, I could see him pacing less obviously, taking calls outside, arranging interviews in the gaps between stand-ups and code reviews. He told me in a whisper once, just low enough for the hum of the server room to swallow. I've got something lined up. Starts in a few weeks. Don't tell anyone. I wanted to ask him what he meant, how long. What the plan was, everything human curiosity asked, but his eyes said, I'll handle it. So I watched.